All right, folks, buckle up, because tonight we are diving deep into a game that had absolutely everything you could ask for. 49ers and Seahawks, Week 6, Thursday Night Football.
Yeah, a classic rivalry.
Huge playoff implications and twists and turns galore, honestly enough to leave you speechless.
Absolutely. And we are going to go beyond just the highlights and even beyond the final score to really dig into those hidden stories within the game.
We're going deep.
What did this matchup tell us about these two teams, about the NFC West? What does it mean for the bigger picture? That's what we're here to break down.
Let's set the scene. It's Week 6, and both of these teams are desperate for a win for very, very different reasons. The Seahawks, they're coming in at 3-2, and I've got to ask you about that 3-0 start.
Oh, man. It had everybody buzzing.
Everyone talking? Were they for real?
Had Geno finally taken that next step.
Yeah, had he leveled up?
And then those two losses to the Lions and the Giants back-to-back, ouch, that really kind of threw a wrench in the whole thing.
Threw everyone for a loop. Made you wonder, were those first 3 wins against, some teams that maybe weren't quite firing on all cylinders?
You start to wonder, were they flukes?
Yeah.
And that's what made this game against the Niners so interesting, such a great litmus test. Could they hang with a real contender?
A measuring stick game.
Exactly.
Meanwhile, you've got the defending NFC champs, the 49ers.
Yeah.
And they are limping into this 1-2-3. Not the start they were hoping for.
Not at all. They were battling injuries up and down the roster, most notably Christian McCaffrey out, which meant a lot of pressure on their backup, Jordan Mason.
And let's not forget, this guy was the league's second leading rusher heading into this game.
Yeah, talk about stepping up, big shoes to fill.
Huge shoes to fill.
Yeah.
Absolutely incredible. And of course, you can't talk about this matchup without talking about the history.
Oh, it runs deep.
This rivalry is heated.
Yeah.
Every single time these two teams get together, it's must-watch football.
And it's always a close one.
The Niners had the upper hand in recent years, but the Seahawks still hold that all-time series lead.
Yeah, so you just knew there was going to be that extra edge, that extra level of intensity.
Absolutely. And let me tell you, this one did not disappoint. From the opening whistle, it was a back-and-forth affair. Malik Mustafa filling in for the injured. Hufanga comes up with a huge interception on Geno Smith on that very first drive.
Sets the tone early.
Talk about a statement.
Huge momentum swing right there. You could feel it throughout the stadium.
But even after that hot start, the Niners really struggled in the red zone early on.
Yeah, they had to settle for field goals instead of touchdowns, which, against a quarterback like Geno who can put up points in a hurry, that's a risky game to play.
You're playing with fire.
Exactly.
And speaking of lighting up the scoreboard, can we talk about Deebo Samuel for a second?
Oh, man, the Deebo show.
The second quarter was the Deebo show. 74-yard touchdown catch and run. Absolutely torched the Seahawks defense.
Talk about a game changer. A true difference maker. And he does it all. Running, receiving, you name it.
He's just so hard to stop.
A true weapon.
Now, unfortunately, that same quarter, Jordan Mason goes down with that shoulder injury after a really, really strong start.
Oof, tough break for the Niners. They're losing their starting running back, and now their backup goes down too. Talk about a blow.
Yeah, and little did we know that was just the beginning of the injury woes for both teams.
It really is remarkable how many players went down in this game. Just highlights the physicality of this sport and how important those backups really are.
And those backups, they really had to step up. But that's a story for Act 2 of our deep dive. Get ready for even more twists and turns as we head into a wild second half. So we left off with the Niners clinging to that lead, but Seattle, they were not done yet.
Not even close. This second half, it was a roller coaster ride.
Back and forth the whole time.
First half, I think both teams kind of feeling each other out, setting the stage.
Eating your read on the opponent.
Right, but then the second half, that's when the fireworks really started.
No kidding.
Yeah.
The third quarter starts with a bang. The Niners finally find the end zone, Brock Purdy to George Kittle for 6.
Touchdown Niners.
And you could feel that momentum shift in their favor, like they were about to pull away.
It did seem that way. And then one of the most electric plays you'll ever see on a football field.
Lavon Chenault Jr.,
Yes!
97 yards to the house, kickoff return touchdown.
Just unbelievable.
Yep.
Right when you think the Niners are in control, boom, Chenault flips the script.
Completely changed the whole game.
And you know what? That was only the second kickoff return touchdown in the entire NFL season up to that point.
Is that right? I did not realize that.
Yeah. So rare to see that happen.
Talk about a momentum swing.
Thank goodness. Thank goodness.
And suddenly the Seahawks are right back in it.
Neck and neck, down to the wire.
Fourth quarter was a nail-biter.
Yeah.
Kenneth Walker, he didn't have a ton of rushing yards, but he made some really clutch plays for Seattle, including a touchdown to keep him in it.
Yeah. He did not have an easy day out there. That Niners defense is tough, but he showed a lot of heart. Kept fighting for every yard.
And on the other side, you've got the 49ers battling through those injuries. They just would not quit.
Next man up mentality.
Right. That's what it's all about. And in a game like this with so much on the line, those are the moments that really define a team.
For sure. It's easy to play well when everything's going your way. But when adversity hits, can you dig deep? Can you find a way to win? And in this game, both teams really had to answer that question.
Absolutely. And in the end, it came down to just a couple of plays. Yeah. A few moments that decided everything.
Seahawks driving late in the fourth quarter. They're threatening to take the lead.
Tension was unreal.
And then Gino throws the interception.
Picked off by Ronaldo Green.
Game changer right there. That's the turning point.
That flipped the script for the final time.
Absolutely. And the Niners, they capitalized. Scored a late touchdown to ice it.
Final score, 49ers 36, Seahawks 24. But as we've been saying this game, it was about so much more than just the final score.
It really was. A story of resilience of unlikely heroes. Those moments of brilliance that can change everything.
The ebb and flow of momentum. It's what makes football so unpredictable, so exciting.
You just never know what's going to happen next.
And as we head into the final act of our deep dive, I think the big question is, what did we learn from this game? What does it mean for these two teams moving forward?
It really makes you think, huh?
It does.
Two teams going through it, injuries, adversity, both with a lot to prove.
Yeah, and they left it all out there on that field. That's what I love about this game.
And that's what makes these deep dives so interesting, right?
Absolutely.
It's not just about recapping the game. It's about understanding what makes these teams tick.
It's about context.
The decisions, the turning points, the moments that tell a story.
Exactly.
And for fans who really want to go deep, who really want to understand the game at a higher level,
you learn so much from a game like this.
You can see the bigger picture. You see how coaching decisions play out, how players adapt, how one play can change everything.
100%. Look at the Seahawks, for example.
Okay.
Their early wins, they came against some teams that weren't exactly world beaters.
Let's be honest here. The Dolphins were a mess. The Broncos were still figuring things out. Right, exactly. Yeah. And against tougher competition like the Lions, the Giants, those wins weren't coming so easily.
The cracks started to show.
A little bit, yeah. And that's why this game against the Niners was so interesting. Could they prove that those early wins weren't flukes?
That they could hang with the big dogs.
Right. Were they contenders or pretenders? That's the question.
And it's a question that's going to linger for a while.
It will. It's something to keep an eye on for sure.
And then you look at the Niners.
Talk about resilience.
Banged up, missing key players.
Yeah, but they just find a way.
They just keep fighting.
Testament to their coaching staff, their system, the depth they have on that roster. Even without McCaffrey at full strength, they controlled the clock. They made plays when they had to.
And the defense came up huge in those big moments.
Mustafa's interception early.
Set the tone.
Green's game-sealing pick. I mean,
unbelievable.
Those are the plays that win games.
They really are.
Yeah.
And that's the beauty of these deep dives, isn't it?
It is. You get to appreciate those little things, the nuance.
The unsung heroes.
Exactly. You go beyond just the box score and you see the real story of the game.
It's about understanding the why behind the what.
I love that. The why behind the what. I'm stealing that.
Go for it. But in the end, this game, it just leaves us with more questions than answers.
It always does.
Can the Niners keep this up?
Right? Can they stay afloat with all these injuries? Can they make a run at another Super Bowl?
Will the Seahawks learn from this loss?
Will they bounce back?
Will Gino take that next step?
So many questions.
And that's the beauty of the NFL, isn't it?
Intrigue.
The unpredictability. You just never know what's going to happen next.
Every week is a new adventure. And this game, man, this was a classic.
It really was. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive, folks.
Absolutely. Until next time.
We'll see you next time.